really shouldn't leave me alone with technology. Welcome to the world of Kings of War with Trollcast. And we've got Mark, Adam, Barry, and as Bob's currently wanting to be, Shed Boy.
Shed Boy.
Bless him. Bless him, he's special. Right, well, obviously we've
so special.
He's exceptionally special. It's a good job that we know him. Right, so we're on because obviously somebody has managed to get away with getting a live tournament through the whole thing, and you'll be going ahead on Saturday. So I imagine there will be a few people that are hoping to see what is actually going on. Yeah, well, how the hell you've done it as well, but oh, poor Maggers already sat there saying snore, snore. Right. So, just to put everybody out of their misery a little bit. Oh, do I go straight on to giving them information, or shall I put some pictures up instead of like pretty maps and stuff?
Yeah.
No, I'll be good. I will go straight into the round and I shall add it to the stream. So here it comes. So I don't know if I can make that bigger actually, because this is where my technical guy sat downstairs. I did say nobody should leave me alone with these things because you can't see that very well. So I'll read it. Okay, so round one is Fool's Gold. Table 1 is Gavin Downey versus Lewis Augustus. Table 2, Matt G versus David Randall. Table 3, Mike Smith versus Seb Briggs. Table 4 is Rob Hudson versus Danny Graves. Sorry, my brain went into different mode there. Table 5 is Rusty versus Ian. Yep. Table 6, Steve Pierce versus Dom. Table 7 is Chris Lynch versus Grant Alexander. For this particular scenario, they're going to have 8 bluff counters, and each player has 1 at a 2 and 1 1 and 2 zeros as objective markers.
And an objective marker which is shoved in the centre of the board, basically. Rather than the 10 bluff counters and 2 have 1 1, they only have 1. You have 1 centre objective marker. That way, then it's 7 VP that the table that the maximum for the table
that you can count. Yeah, understandable. Cool. So we've now seen that part of the list. I shall bring up the actual people who are facing each other. Right. Does anybody want to take Gavin's list? And we'll just work our way through for everybody.
Well, seeing as I'm below on the Dewberry, I shall kick off then. So, Gavin has taken a horde of scarecrows with a scream shard, a regiment of phantoms, a regiment of spectres, 2 regiments of shadow hounds, a regiment of needle fangs, a horde, and another horde of butchers, a mine street.
Yeah, boots.
Oh yeah, Jesse's boots of striding and the Macwaz potion of the caterpillar. Well, at some point when you do using that easy army, if you don't put them in, it reminds you. Portal of Despair.
Automatically, doesn't it?
A horror, 2 horrors. One with the Aura of Vicious, replacing Lightning Bolt with Brain Chant, and the other with the Shroud of the Saint, replacing Lightning Bolt with Brain Chant. Sneaky. And a Banshee. 2,020 points. Excellent.
Units 2025, 14 drops. That's quite solid.
Yeah, not a bad list, really. I like the Shadowhounds. The Shadowhound regiments are really good. I
love Shadowhounds, I must admit.
But Butchers are solid.
Mm-hmm. especially when you give them Maquas and the boots.
Yeah.
And if you're going to go for a Mind Screech, it's either 1 or 3. There's no in between, so at least you've not taken 2. I don't rate Needlefangs much. I know they're great for chaff and they fly, but
they're very misleading though, because the problem is that people ignore them, and it's a flying Strider unit, so you can't ignore it. So if one of them honestly, they're dead easy to kill. The amount of lightning bolt in this tournament will kill them in no time. Which will be a theme you'll see across these lists. But if they're ignored and you get a flank with one of them, that's quite threatening, really.
Oh yeah, they can be threatening. It's just the fact that I don't think anybody ever ignores them. I've never known them to be ignored. They've been stomped on very quickly. It's an all-round good list as far as I'm concerned. Everybody else's opinion, roll.
Yeah, I think the vicious aura is interesting because it doesn't really affect much in the list.
No, it's just the spectres and 1 set of scarecrows.
And if you're trying to get vicious on spectres, I feel like you're doing something wrong. Yeah,
you're doing a lot wrong. But then I think spectres are a bit useless and wet. My personal opinion.
They're terrible. They look like they're missing a rule. They look like they should have steady aim.
Yeah,
but adding the fact that you've got stealthy, it seems wrong to give them anything more. You know, it's kind of like, you're impossible to hit, but you can hit us back. Let's have a look at Lewis's list.
But they are speed 6, and it's a regiment. And like Adam was saying before about the Needlefangs, people make the mistake of ignoring them. If you've got that unit of spectres, can just trundle around and sit on objectives, or sneak up the board, be ignored, and plop itself into positions where it can block stuff or contest objectives, or even snatch loot counters, all the while being ignored by everybody else because spectres are shy.
I think they're a good backfield unit, but the problem is that just a regiment of scarecrows does that better. But
slower.
You can shoot a little bit. Yeah. No,
the shades are good.
Just being asked by Maggers. I'm not sure what batshit crazy LL is. Mark?
The Davy Jones, the Reaper. We'll do Lewis's and then we can do the Reaper if you want.
I'm just trying to find where I've put it actually, because I know I opened it up. Where's it gone? Sorry, you'll just have to bear with me half a second. We'll do Lewis's, and then I'll go back for the Reaper because I have found him up. Do you want to take this one, Barry? Shall we work in a downward motion?
Downward spiral.
We've
not got far to go. We never usually start very far up anyway.
Right, so we've got a horde and a half of Draugr, so that's a horde and a regiment. That's lopsided, that.
Zombie.
It's all wrong, so it's a terrible start. 2 regiments Huskarls, 2 regiments Mounted Sons, 2 regiments Stone Foxes.
With the boots of striding and the potion of the caterpillar.
Yeah. All that.
All that gubbins.
Come on, you know the standard.
Yeah.
And then we go to the massive drain life.
The three megas with drain life.
18 elite.
Drain life 18.
Elite drain life, yeah.
Then are they elite?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they are.
Yeah, I've got Famulus.
Yeah, but he hasn't done the. What's the artifact which you can stack a drain life up even bigger?
Don't know. They haven't got that though.
No.
Lord on Frostfang and Maggie.
Oh, good old Maggie.
Yeah.
Maggie in real life on a table.
That's fancy.
Right, what can you say about this? It's a solid version 3 drain life list.
Yeah.
You've got 18 drain life. You've got 18 drained life sat behind Huskarls and Mounted Sons, and you've got 4 lots of chaff, and Mags and Frostfang Lord that are there for disruption. Solid.
Baby dragon.
Very, very cheap baby dragon.
Mm.
Yeah. So who do you tick for round one on those two?
So the nice thing is that the shooting on the Varangur list ignores all the stealthy in the Night Stalker list. So that's a big plus.
No shooting. Cheating.
The combat in the Night Stalkers, he's got the alpha. He's got the alpha with pretty much everything due to the Banshee and the Phantoms and the Shadow Hounds. So it's going to be interesting because I think if Lewis can hold them off,
I think Lewis has got a good chance. Before we decide, we'd better take a quick look at the Reaper, Davy Jones, because obviously that is going to also add to the factor of what the army's capable of. So, do you want to talk us through your cunning gentleman here, Mark?
Yeah,
I know you love him.
This is a slightly toned down version of our Reapers. The Reapers are a little bit nuts. And so I'm saying this is a toned down version. Speed 9, flying, Davy Jones. He's crushing strength 2, melee 4+, so he's a 50-50 on hitting. 5 attacks. Pathfinder is snare, stealthy, doesn't have Strider. Cloak of Death, so he's dishing out wounds all the time. He's a loner, so he cannot be inspired. He's got Death Strike, which basically means if you cause a natural 6 to wound, it causes 2 points of damage instead of 1. Mytalein's Revenge, which basically is the Crystal Pendant of Retribution. So when you do kill him, you get hurt as well.
God, boom. Interesting. Very, very interesting.
You missed elite off him.
I think this guy's the reason.
You've got to let him have some.
Honestly, I think this guy's the reason why there's so much shooting in this event. Well, lightning bolt in this event, because that guy just dies to lightning bolt.
Yeah.
But if you don't kill him, he's going to kill a unit and a half.
Yeah.
For free.
It's a 0 point.
There's not much more you can say about that.
But you can't hold it. But you can't claim any objectives either. His unit strength 0. So he's a large infantry, but unit strength 0. So he can't hold loot counters, can't claim objectives, can't claim zones or anything like that.
Yeah, he
does. Reaper's usually very good that way.
Yeah, the Reaper's going to charge you and do 4 damage. Pretty much guaranteed. And that's amazing, just for free. And he'll outgrind most things in the game due to ensnare. You can't shoot him because of stealthy. He's solid.
Lightning bolt.
Solid.
Yeah.
So a good fearless factor. Yeah, nice.
Fearless 15 is the best nerd in the game.
Got to agree. Definitely got to agree. I will do. We as well as having the Reaper, I've also got the table layout, but I will show the table layout at the end for everybody, just because that way they know where table 1 through
7
to the other side are 7. Yeah, thank you. So we shall go back to Matt G next.
What
okay, that's stable.
Before we move on,
before we move on,
Lewis v Gavin.
What's that? Sorry.
What did we think of Lewis v Gavin?
Well, I think that the Night Stalkers might just have the edge on that.
I agree with you.
So that's one from
matchup.
Adam.
I mean, the Northern Alliance are hard hitting. They've got all the drain life, but I think they'll get outmaneuvered and outground. I think.
Yeah, I think the Night Stalkers have got enough to kill something in a round to ignore the drain life, and enough chaff to bog things down. But I'm not saying it's a dead fire wing. I just think the Night Stalkers have got a slight edge.
Mm.
Okay, Barry, Mark, what are your takes?
I like the Varangur, mostly just because I like the Varangur. To be honest, I'd have to see. I'd have to see him. I've not got a lot of experience fighting the Night Stalkers anyway, or I certainly haven't used them. So I feel like there's so much stealthy in there. You're paying points for stuff that obviously it's not going to get used.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, there's the absolute key thing is that you've got a horde of chaff and a regiment of chaff. You've not got two things that are the same. He doesn't like to pick two things that are the same, two things that are the same, and it's all balanced, and he's got a mismatch. It's going to mess with people's heads.
OCD loses it for him, yeah.
That's it. Someone's going to fall off the edge of the table not knowing which way to go.
How about you, Mark? What's your thoughts?
I think
on the game, not just
Stop it, Bob.
No, yeah, we'll be here all night.
Oh no, yeah, we're rambling on about bollocks. I think Varangour's, I think Varangour has the edge. It's basically because of what they said before is it's got going to dish out quite a bit of lightning, drain life, the lightning bolt, and it doesn't affect the stealthy, and it is a lot more hard hitting if used right. It's the if used right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I must admit, having used Night Stalkers myself, they're quite difficult to get the hang of. I don't know why they put them in the starter set for people, because believe me, that's enough to put anybody off. I also think that the Varangur has this one myself, so it's a 3-2 there. I'll keep track of these.
Okay. We're having bets soon.
Yeah, laying on the odds next. Let's get Matt's list up next.
Oh,
so, table 2, we have Matt's list. Do you want to take this one, Mark?
Go for it. So this is Red Goblin Scouts, a troop of them, little wee charge around cavalry troopy thing.
Chaff.
Yeah. Warrior chariots, a reg of. Quite tasty with brewer sharpness. Boomers, which are elite now with crushing 1 as well, and steady aim with their boomstick. 2 hordes of shield breakers, 1 with fury, 1 with 16-17, which I think is a terrific little item. Again, a nice hard-hitting unit and can take a punch. The lovely Goblin Blaster, which is that D6.
It's a brilliant unit.
Boom.
Yeah.
3d6. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's a lovely, nasty little piece of work. It made a little bit sensible now, but it's still a nasty piece of work. Is it 2 Ogre Warlocks, or are we on to the third page?
Yeah, 2 Ogre Warlocks.
I responded to a comment.
Again, drain life trains as well. 1 inspiring, 1 with a boomstick. I'm not sure on the boomstick. I suppose it gives it a bit more range for the first few rounds.
Lightning Bolt 9's nice and tasty.
Yeah, you can't knock that.
No.
Oh yeah, Lightning Bolt 9. Oh
yeah, they draw
+3.
power off the ogres, don't they?
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I forgot about that. Yep. Ogre Warlord with mead of nuts, and a Crocker Dog, which I can't remember what it does. Oh, basically,
it's like a miniature elite for 1 turn.
And Kuzo I'm mad for, which is a nasty little fuckwit.
Yeah, it is. And then we've got the here. I must admit, I found this a shock.
Matt Jeezy has basically admitted he's a shit general by taking allies. And has taken a reg of scarecrows and a shade.
I think that's questionable.
I think Matt deserves his backside slapped, personally.
Why? What's wrong with taking allies?
No,
you do it all the time. It's not worked for you in the past either.
Giant group of zombie-like things and a flying ghost creature fit in really well with ogres. You know,
it's thematic.
But I'm not sure what these actually bring to the party, though. That's what I wasn't.
Well, the shade is. I mean, I use a berserker lord with the wings of honey maze, and looking at the shade, you know, it's defense 5, flies 5 attacks, dread, individual with stealthy, crushing 1. You know, it can fly around, and if you're not using it as an ally, you can still give it a magic item. And I find a winged individual character like that is useful in so many applications against war machines, just holding stuff up. You know, making a monster sit down for a couple of turns, keeping it on the ground.
It's a very good anti-flyer, and again, it's an anti-lightning bolt and anti-war machine piece.
Yeah,
and there's quite a bit of both of them in there.
It can shut down things so quick.
Is it basically worth the 220 points?
I'd say no.
No, but
it's a lot more appealing. The closest in faction equivalent, though, isn't it? Because that's a Goblin Bigot, isn't it?
If you were taking Night Stalker allies, I'd have dropped the Mead of Madness from the Warlord and upped that shade to a Mind Screech.
Yeah, unless he's using the Dread Bubble. That's the only other thing I can think of is a flying Dread Bubble as well.
Because the Dread Bubble, because this ogre list's got a lot of shooting in. Because as you said, there's like Lightning Bolt, a lot. Lightning Bolt 9, 15.
Well, he could squeeze 15 out of it with the 2 Warlocks.
Yeah. And the Drain Life in the list. The Drain Life is very high as well, potential 16. Because the ogres boost Drain Life, not just Lightning Bolt as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it limits the tactical formation somewhat because you're having to keep your Warlocks in tight with the units. But with two hordes of Siege Breakers fight really well side by side anyway. And with an Inspiring Warlock behind them, because I think one's got the Inspiring Talisman, has it?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. So with an Inspiring Warlock and a Boomstick Warlock floating around there, that's a really strong formation that can take a lot of damage and deal a lot of damage out, especially with all that Drain Life supporting it as well. You just have to be careful where you put the Warlocks so they don't get caught out by stuff charging them. But
I think with this sort of list, you can pretty much guarantee the +3 fairly easily between the Breakers and the Boom, just because they're going to be together, and then you'll have your chariots. That chariot regiment is brilliant. 250 points. That does so much damage.
Yeah.
I think
chap it with the scouts and let it pick its targets.
Yeah, you charge it with your. You put it with your Warlord as well, and it'll take on a lot.
Let's have a look at what he's facing. I will hand this one to you, Adam.
So this is a very interesting Goblin list. We've got 2 hordes of spears, a regiment of rabble. Someone's actually taking spitters, which is unheard of. There'll be another list we'll see soon. So there's a regiment of spitters. He must have needed 90 points. That's all I can think of. He's got a horde of trolls, with Chalice of Wrath, because that's a really good item to put on 14, 17 units. 2 regiments of flea bags, half decent cavalry. Not wrong with them for the points. 1 big rock, 1 sharp thrower, 1 more put launcher. Just because he didn't want to be that person to bring loads of war machines, so he brought 1 of everyone. A mincer. I like the mincers. The mincers are great. Goblin slasher, so he's got a stealthy bolt thrower as well. A bolt thrower in disguise. 2 bigots. One of them's mounted with the crystal pendant, and the other one's on foot with loot. There's a lot of stuff in here. Wizard with inspiring talisman, bane chant, and mounted, and then a troll bruiser with stainstone. Which, if I'm honest, the stainstone's needed for the troll bruiser. He's way too easy to wear without it.
Yeah.
So 16 units, 22 units strength.
And it just feel like I took 1 of everything.
The sharpsticks could be quite a nice counter to the ogre list with the chariot stuff.
It's only 2 units in the list though that's affected by it, which is the regiment and the hero. So I kind of, no, he's not affected. So the regiment and the hero. So I do kind of feel it's easily avoided. Could be wrong though. And to be fair, the ogre chariot can actually just charge a unit in the front and not care because of the sharpness.
Yeah.
Especially with a little bit of lightning bolt or drain life, and it can easily one-shot a phalanx unit in the front. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Matt G's got quite a bit of advantage here.
I think that's a huge advantage. I think that shade's just going to bounce from one thing to another because there's so much stuff here that you can just get in the flanks of, you can get round the back of with a plain horrible thing.
Well, the thing is with goblins is the shade can actually kill a fleabag regiment by itself, and it can kill any of the regiments by themselves, basically. And it can just go around running after characters and war machines. So even though we've just said I don't know why he's having that allied contingent, it's probably going to be really good in this first matchup.
We kind of know. Okay, shall we go to voting? Or do we
I was just going to say,
opinions?
What I think's interesting about the Goblin list, I was saying this to somebody earlier today, this is actually very similar to my Goblin list, and it's because it's me Goblins that I've got left over from the old days. So, it comes around to, I'm going to put a Goblin army together, stuck all the stuff that I had on bases, and it came up with, I've got 2 hordes of sharpsticks, I've got a regiment of rabble, I've got a horde of spitters, and obviously they're not in an awful lot of table lately.
Not for a while.
But it's quite familiar looking. And so what I was wondering was, I wonder if he's actually put this together thinking, I've really got something for this. Or if he's gone, no, not through, I'm going to make one of those. And bolt through, I'm going to make one of those.
Yeah, leave it there, Mark.
All the stuff together. Or if he's done the same thing as I've done, it's just like the stuff that he's got and he's put it together. And
one thing
now you're all beating it up. It's terrible.
One thing we did miss is that both cavalry of the fleabag riders have got caterpillar and boots of striding, because obviously they kind of just automatically go on something fast.
You have to have something. Oh right, so.
Yeah, a little paper clip comes up and says, "It looks like you picked a cavalry regiment without boots of striding. Do you want me to add that for you?"
If you say no, it goes, "You've been stupid, I'm adding."
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you rather
make the most of it before the next cookbook comes out?
You've got to pay for the double premium one to be able to ignore it.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'll start off casting the votes. I think Matt's going to have this one in the bag. Bob?
I personally like the supermarket shelf choice goblins, so I'm going to go for the goblins because I think they'll surprise everybody.
I've got working knowledge. I've got working knowledge of that army, so I'm going to suggest that it's probably going to go to the ogres as well.
Ouch! Ouch!
So you're saying Matt?
Yeah.
Mark.
As much as I'd love to root for the goblins,
I'd like the Greens. Yeah.
It's got to be the ogres.
Go on, Padley.
Yeah, it's going to have to be ogres, but the goblins do. The big thing to point out is the goblins massively outdrop them. So depending on scenario and table, you can just play for. You could just play for the scenario and see what happens.
Well, they are playing for the loot, aren't they? So.
Oh.
No.
So it's
right.
at the moment it's the first round is Fool's Gold, so they're all objective markers. So yeah,
it
what
is
you're
a good
saying,
chance.
Adam, is basically sacrifice type thing.
Now, the thing with goblins, I've used when I had my goblins, I remember using the entire army once as chaff just to win the scenario.
And we can't forget the fact that we've got that little runaround Reaper character.
Yep.
So you have got a nasty, horrible stealthy guy running about there.
I have to say it. Yeah, but I have to say it. I think Matt can deal with that. I don't think the goblins can.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the goblins' best bet is to put Reaper against Reaper. Matt's best bet is to try and avoid that.
Yeah.
Well, if Dave does prove you all wrong, I'm going to be so smug.
You are going to be smug. I know you're going to be smug.
The last time I was on one of these, I was the ringer. And when it came to mine, you made me read my own bloody army list out, and then I had to sit here and listen to everybody go, yeah, Bob's got a load of Brock Riders, but he's going to get shot to pieces. He's going to get massacred. He's going to get absolutely maimed in the next game. What happened?
You sat there and listened to what got said and started following the advice. You did exactly what they said that you should do. You did it.
No, I had gin for breakfast and I won my first game. That's what happened.
You didn't have that much gin for breakfast. You started the gin heavily about 11. Anyway.
I like it.
If you're going to have a tournament day and it's UB, you've got to do it properly.
Oh, yeah.
You'll have to join us for one of ours.
I nearly broke the unwritten law. I was the ringer and I came second. I was 4 points from winning the tournament.
It was wrong. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, and I believe it's my turn to take this. I don't know what these pirates are of but it's a lovely Ratkin slave. Yeah, it's beautiful. Ratkin slaves. So we've got slave wretches, last breath on everything. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Decimators.
Can I just say something quickly? You just said nasty, nasty, nasty about a Rat King slave list. I didn't think they went together.
Oh, they do. I've seen some of these lists do some nasty damage. It's that last breath thing. And as Mark knows, Mark plays with Rat Kings and knows full well that last breath really does. You go when you expect to wipe it out and it takes you out because you're slowly getting killed off each time you kill something. It's, horrible. I don't like the last breath.
Oh, I love it.
I think we should give it to another thing like maybe Night Stalkers. No. But, yeah, Decimators.
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, move past those horrible little things. Decimators, we've got a regiment and then a horde with a brew of haste.
More unbalanced.
Yeah, there's no unbalance there. You kind of want them to be a bit faster than 4, don't you? Slave Nightmares, Chalice of Wrath on one horde. Yeah. Vermintide.
Yeah, a bit of chaff.
Yeah. Slave Runners with Brewer Sharpness. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's 24 attacks.
24 attacks. It's a massive.
Yeah, you might as well fetch
Crushing
it down.
one thunderous one.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper on a regiment, remember?
That's true, it is. I've forgotten that. Slave driver with the warbow of Kabar.
Because he has 5 points left over.
Yeah, that's always the way.
That's his game plan. The game plan of the warbow.
All dice roll. Yeah.
Just going to twang away.
Going to stand in one corner and keep doing the one-shots. Abyssal Half-Breed Champion. Now, they're always interesting. And he's got Blade of Slashing on it, so you get that extra hit.
Well, that's the cheap. Is it one reroll, isn't it?
Yeah. Reroll 1 miss.
Yeah, so it's just a cheap elite type thing. For
it is.
Low attack units.
With 6 attacks, it's actually kind of better than elite.
Lovely.
Yeah, you go sticking it on something with crushing strength too. That's a character, yeah, it's worth it. Blade of Slashing, 5 points. You would.
Yeah.
When you can't have 2 warbows, what are you going to do?
Mace. Mace of Crushing's the other one. Throw that one in.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, can't forget that. Okay, and Golek Skin Flayer. Hope I said that one right. I'm not used to it.
Who knows?
Well, with the title at the top, I find this list very interesting.
Yeah, it's great. It's great seeing someone else coming for fun.
Mike does well with this list. At 2K, Knight's Ratkin Slaves outperforms my Ratkin Slaves at this sort of pointage.
This is like pillar fight on pillar fight, though, isn't it? When we're comparing them.
Fuck off.
One thing I have noticed is a distinct lack of inspiring.
Yeah, that's the big thing I'm seeing here.
And I mean, he's got a character that runs off and does fighting. All right, doesn't inspire anything.
It inspires itself.
It inspires itself, but apart from that, I mean, you've got the slave driver and then Golek Skin Flare,
which are both got rally. One's rally 1, one rally 2 for the slaves.
It's quite a low drop. It is quite a low drop for this.
It's the Decimators and the Nightmares that have made it quite a low drop for that, I think.
So it's got some hard-hitting stuff in there, but as you say, maybe the lack of inspiring is because he thinks that it's going to hit hard enough that if it dies, it dies.
Or he doesn't care that it just flies out.
With the don't care if it dies. That's the point. His last breath, you don't care if it dies. You want it to die.
Yeah.
So,
you want it to die in combat.
Yeah. That's good. Fair point.
Okay.
Yeah, utterly. So, right, we'll move on to Seb's list then. So, Sebastian's list. Do you want to take this one, Bob?
Okay. So, we have a troop of Centaur Grey Hunters with the fire oil. So, the extra piercing against regeneration. A regiment and a horde of forest shamblers. Oh yeah, and crushing. So there'll be crushing 1 thunderous one if they charged in. What have they got? Pipes of terror. So a brutal horde of forest shamblers. Earth elementals with the mead of madness. So the extra +1 was that? Wild charge 1. Beasts of nature with the custom name of Rocky. Increased the attacks to 7. No fly. Ooh. Yeah. Greater water elemental with the custom name of Surge. I missed out the water elemental sword with the brew of haste there, my mistake. Greater earth elemental with the custom name of Rumble. Druid. I can't read the custom name on that.
Liberius.
Yeah. With the Conjurer's Staff, Lightning Bolt 2. Is that worth it? Mount on a Forest Steed. So mounted with Surge 4. Tree Herder. Aegis of the Elohi. Iron Resolve.
Yep, that's it.
Crushing Strength 2, yeah, inspiring. And, a unicorn. Rose the unicorn at Lightning Bolt 5.
Oh.
It's I'm struggling to find the synergy for that army, to be honest.
It's very all over the place.
I mean, it's got the tree herder and the two greater elementals are quite hard hitting.
Yeah. And two of them are Def 6 as well, which is worth pointing out. So he's got 3 Def 6 blocks in the army, which against the Rat King slaves, the slaves are going to struggle against that, especially when you've got the tree herder healing them all for free.
What's his surge? So you got surge 10, is it, or 12? 12
in total.
On two things, tree herder and druid.
Which against a 12 drop army, surge is going to be very threatening. A 12 drop army with not a lot of chaff. Well, I know there's the wretches, but there's no chaff for either important things like your nightmares or your tunnel runners.
Let's go back to Mike's. I'm just looking unit strength wise. Yeah, Mike's got unit strength 26 with 12 drops. So to 16 with 11.
The big thing for me here is that the forces of nature can deal with the Reaper. The Rat King can't deal with the Reaper.
Well, I don't know. The
itself's going to do so much damage.
The half breed could quite easily outmaneuver the Reaper and get a flank charge on him, negates the ensnare, and then he's 6 attacks, crushing 2, so it's 3s and 2s. It'd take him a couple of rounds to take it down, but
Reaper's speed 9 though. That's the thing. The Reaper gets the edge on him.
But it's not as manoeuvrable because it's a large infantry. He could sweep past it.
I feel like you probably throw the Reaper at the Decimator Regiment, kill that, and then just accept the trade. If you die in return, you die. If you don't, you don't. Or you just throw the Reaper at the Horde and stop it shooting for a couple of turns.
This is true, yeah. Just tie it down.
Yeah. No, I'm on the favour of the forces of nature here.
Okay, so Adams for Seb's list. Shall we work up from the bottom then? Go on, Mark. What's your thoughts?
I've got to keep with my rat slave chain gang, man.
Okay, so you're going for Mike?
Yeah.
Barry, my dear?
Forces of nature on this one. Forces of nature for me.
Bob?
I'd like to say forces of nature, but I have seen Mike's slave army in action over quite a lot of UB battles. He's a tough opponent.
We have seen
but is he going to transfer it to in real life? I'm going to go for the Rat King. I'm going to keep me faith.
You're going to support the fun player.
Yeah.
That's it. It's all about the fun.
I'm sorry, but Rat King needs some help. I'm sorry.
I am right on the edge, but having seen Mike play games, and I've seen Seb as well. So, in fact, I've played Seb, whereas I've never been good enough to play Mike.
Was that an ouch statement?
Nearly. I like Seb's list. I do like Seb's list, and I really hate Last Breath. I just think it's a hideous thing to do to anybody.
Go
on, this is what it's like shopping with you. There's 2 choices.
Should we go sit in corner and wait?
I'm going
don't share a bottle of gin before you go shopping.
Is that on the chairs of shame, as it were?
No, share a bottle of gin while you're shopping. It's much more fun. I'm still not allowed back in Waitrose.
Bob, shut the fuck up. I've made my vote now. I'm sure you all heard it. Yeah. So, right. So that was a 3-2 in the end. Okay. So, our little monkey boy, Rob Hudson. Bless him.
I think there's two parts to this. One is his list and one will he time out. I
think he'll time out.
How long's clock?
55
Not long
minutes.
enough.
Or will his opponent stuff a sock in his mouth long enough to play a game?
Well, knowing his opponent, I think he'll be fine. I think they'll be outside having a pint before an hour's up, though. I think it is you, Barry, isn't it?
Cool.
I can't remember. Did Bob do the last one? Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, so Regiment of Impalers with Stain, Stone, and Scream Shard. I only know what one of those does. What does Scream Shard do?
Life Leech 2 for one turn.
Right, okay. Ace. That's great on those guys, isn't it? Mega.
Yeah, it's for 5 points. You might as well.
Should have had a warbow. Blade Dancers Regiment with a controversial brew of strength. I like this, and apparently it's roundly hammered because it's a defense 3 regiment.
If it's supported right, it's a brilliant unit.
I think so. I definitely use the orc equivalent all the time, but then I can throw lots of chaff in there. He hasn't got a right lot, I don't think.
No, he's got drops.
Yeah. Trooper Gargoyles, because gargoyles.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
The standard 2 regiments of Abyssal Horsemen with the obvious.
I bet no one can guess the items.
No, not at all. I'm guessing.
Not even telling you. Silver Breeze Cavalry, troop and a regiment, lopsided, Rob. You've fucked it, mate. Helium Brew on the regiment. Got to keep them alive. Very important. Shooties.
Yeah.
Chromebound Archfiend.
With a blade flashing.
With a blade flashing. When it's a dragon, not a dragon. When it's an Archfiend. Confusing. 2 Summoner Crones. 1 with Wings of Honey Maze. And Sceptre of Shadows, which is extra drain life, apparently. He's decided to get around this. You can't have a horse mount if you have the Sceptre of Shadows, so he's stuck wings on it instead.
Yeah.
Because he's a reader. And the other one's got Conjurer's Staff, because extra drain life. And an ASB with loot, because always.
Because you might as well have some elves in your elf army.
Yeah, it's got impalers.
Imagine putting elves in an elf army. That's just not going to happen. I've got to ask one important question that has been asked in the chat. Mark, do you want to clarify?
Yeah, I've got clocks. Well, yes, we're using clocks, and I'm buying a load from Ian as well, so hopefully I have a load of spares.
But are the analog clocks or the digital
clocks?
No,
they're digital. Sorry.
Like
binary clocks, you've got to work it out.
You still have time. You still have time. You no longer have time.
Like the Predator countdown.
Okay. So unit strength 17 and total unit drop 11 in there.
Quite a lot of elves in that one as well. That's an elf list with quite a lot of elves.
Yeah, it's because it's his old Games Workshop army that he's ported across. Because he used to work for Games Workshop. He's got a lot of old Games Workshop models.
It's worked out a lot better for him than it did for me with goblins.
Ooh.
Like that, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but you're not such a knob.
Over to Mark.
Hey, Rob.
Right, so Danny Graves, 2 troops of half-elf berserkers, half human, Hearst Coals, and at the moment, no items at all, and that's a reg of Hearst Coals, reg of Foxies, 3 hordes of ice elementals.
Yeah.
They're quite nice and tasty.
Shambly but nasty.
Troop of Tundra Wolves. Again, no items so far. A horde of Trolls, and the first item, which is Fury, which is brilliant because it negates their crappy Wavering Nerve. Lord on Frostfang with a Healing Brew. Why not? But yeah. Ice Queen with Heal and with the Surge. So expect lots of Surge shenanigans with the Ice Elementals. The Ice Blade, which is basically a Berserker Hero Hunter.
Berserker Assassin thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the Duelist, it's basically a Hero Hunter.
I'm so upset it doesn't have Wings of Honeymaze. because an individual that can charge 23 inches is amazing. No individual safe.
Yeah.
My Wingy Kingy can charge possible 24 inches if he stood next to Seri. Always put somebody on the back foot. That.
Yeah, like I do miss not seeing the +1 wild charge item and wings on the ice blades for the 24. Just so much board control. Like I like this list, but I feel like you needed a second Ice Queen just to abuse the
Surge.
just to abuse that. I'm gonna walk forward with. I'm gonna
shoot,
shoot and then surge.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're taking 3 ice elementals, that's kind of what you want to do.
Yeah, but 1 queen behind a 3 is quite cool. But I know what you mean.
It's the reliability because it's only surge 8. You've got to be 4 inches away, which is a bit. Well, you want to be 3 inches away really for reliability.
True. I think what they speed 6, ice breath 10. I think ice elementals. I think speed 6 or they speed 7.
Yeah, speed 6.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, speed 6.
Lot of shooting. I'm not being funny. 3 ice elementals deal with Reaper. If Reaper gets anywhere close to them, we can shooting him off.
Yeah. And that's a lot
just
of
removing.
shots.
There's a lot of shots in this list. A lot of shots. You've got.
And they're all piercing. Those ice breaths are piercing 1.
54. You've got 64 breath pretty much in that list. It's a lot of breath.
But short range. That's the only catch with the ice breath.
No, it's a good list.
I like the list.
Who will be favouring?
Yeah, I've got to ask the question. Shall we work the way up from you, Padley?
Right, so first impressions, I've got to give it to the Twilight King. Because I think, with them having the Alpha and the
Twilight King.
Twilight King. The Twilight King.
Rob's Army.
Oh, Twilight, sorry. It's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
the one that he said, not the one he didn't say.
Yeah.
So I've got to give it to Twilight King because most of their stuff just outranges his breath, basically. So it can literally put 2 Cav and the Reaper into all 3 ice elementals and negates the reason you take ice elementals.
Yeah.
Once you take them 3 units out, there's only a unit of Huskals and 2 troops to deal with. But Fireball from the Archfiend and, Drain Life 15, for God's sake, to keep everything alive and to ping damage in places, it's solid. And fast Drain Life as well for both of them, because you can pretty much get what you want with both of them.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
I'm edging Northern Alliance because I think with the Foxes, the Wolves, and even the half-elf Berserkers running front, that stops that first charge on the ice alleys, and actually can just smash in nuts out charge type thing. But yeah, so I think my bet's with the Northern Alliance.
With Danny. Okay. Barry?
My money's on Rob, the Twilight King, for the reasons already given by them with the speed. And because Rob, because much as we give him shit, he's really smart.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't time out.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the Twilight King because it has all the elements that I like, and it outranges people, and it can pick and choose its fights, but it also has a lot of staying power in there with the individuals. They can keep it going for as long as they want, I think. So yeah, I'm going to go for Rob.
Okay. I'll even us up a little bit. I'm going to go for Danny's list because I like the list. Don't get me wrong. I think he could have used quite a bit more Surge and a few other bits and pieces in there. But I also know how both these people play. You know, I've faced Danny a couple of times at Clash of Kings and other places, and I've faced Rob a few times through the club. So I actually think I'm going to go with Danny on this, but it's very close cut for me. But I am going to go with Danny.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 3-2. So Twilight King have got the overall vote there. Next up, Mr. Padley, would you like to take Rusty's beautiful abyssal dwarves?
I will. So he's got an Immortal Guard regiment with the Scrying Gem. So he's going to force Ian to put extra units down. Which, to be fair, Ian's got like all the drops, so it's not the end of the world. But so the Mortal Regiment with 3 Mastiffs and Scrying Gem. He's got 3 hordes of Death 6 Abyssal Golems, Obsidian Golems, not Abyssal Golems, sorry. And they've all got the breath upgrade. So they've got 8 breath attacks, a piercing 1 each. 3 heavy mortars because it's Abyssal Dwarfs that they kind of just automatically get added when you open easy armor. 2 greater Obsidian Golems. Again, if you add 3 hordes of lesser golems, they automatically appear on your list. And then 2 Ironcasters.
One with the extra surge.
Yeah. So he's gone for a Death 6 wall with lots of shooting.
I think Rusty's just a very bad man.
I think he's going to. He just before the lockdown, he actually won a tournament with an army list that used golems and mortars, and it worked very well for him. And I think this is an extension of that list.
I'm going to say it's solid for Abyssal Dwarfs. It's kind of what they do, and this is version 3 in it, so War Machines and Lightning Bolt kind of reign.
Yeah.
And then if you think this is bad, wait until you see Ian's list, and we're going to see how sorry we feel for Ian fighting this first round.
Yeah. So I'll take Ian's. Trident Realms. We have Riverguard Tree Leapers. Off go Ian's Frogs. So 3 troops there. Tidal Swarms. We've got 3 regiments. No extra items on any of these yet. Depth Horrors. Oh, look, 2 hordes. I don't know where those extra items came from, but we've got the J boots and the Maquas.
What do they do?
I don't know. No idea at all. They just seem to get added on and nobody knows anything about them. Then you've got your Naiads.
Oh, Blood of the Old
Blood of
King.
the Old King. I don't think I've met Blood of the Old, but I might have done actually when I faced Ian on UB, but I can't remember what Blood of the Old King does. Anybody?
It gives you elite and vicious, but for every success you get,
every one you roll, every re-roll.
Yeah, every re-roll you get a wound.
Is it successful re-roll or just re-roll?
No, every re-roll.
Yeah.
So every one you roll to hit and every one you roll to wound, you take a damage.
People usually put it on something that's got like good regeneration or life leech. Just
you put it on you put it on a vampire dragon, like it was kind of made for that.
I wasn't going to name names, but
can't think of anybody that do these things.
let's make an item that's perfect for this unit that I play.
Oh, right. And we'll move on. So, okay, Blood of the Old King I've now met. Nooker, Kraken, Naiad Envoy with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness, because why wouldn't you? The Riverguard Sentinel with a Healing Brew, yep. And Trident King. All in all,
there's not many times in Kings of War that you can look at a list and go, that's pretty shit. But this is one of them. What I think he's done is I think he's cut all the army lists out of his book, stuck them on the wall and thrown darts at the wall to build his list.
He wanted to make a fluffy list.
It is fluffy.
No, I'm giving Ian shit because he deserves it at the end of the day. There's no other reason than that. He's got a lot of chaff. He is the
chaff master.
He is. The Riverguard Tree Leapers, I think, are underrated for the points.
Yeah.
Tridal Swarms.
He uses them well.
Tridal Swarms are probably the most point efficient unit in the game. Depth Horrors are great. Worm Riders are shocking. I don't care what anyone does with them. They're just shocking. So I suppose if you've got a shocking unit that you know is going to die to a stiff breeze, you might as well give it Blood at Old Kings.
So it goes out with a bang.
Yeah, you might as well, haven't you?
So is the defence not worth the defence and +2 movement over the Depth Horrors? Not worth it for what is that? 35 points.
Oh, no, nowhere near. Because the Worm Riders don't have ensnare.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's the ensnare that makes Depth Horrors so good. That's why they're so cheap. Like that's why you see Trident Realms winning tournaments with just putting as many Depth Horror hordes as you can in. But the one thing Trident Realms struggle against, Trident Realms are great into combat armies, but against into shooting armies like Rusty's, with all the breath and all the mortars, I think Ian's going to have a uphill battle. But Ian's definitely got the advantage on the scenario, which has got to be said.
Yeah, those Tree Leapers will jump about at the last minute and suddenly land on stuff. You see it coming.
The only thing I was thinking when I was looking at Rusty's list, the fact that he's got 3 hordes of obsidian golems and 2 greater golems is the height and the fact that most of his army is big, so he's going to have to really work at positioning his mortars to get maximum effect out of them, because he's not going to be able to rely on shooting indirectly at over smaller units at other people's big units.
100%.
So 100%. he's gonna really have to work that. And if the terrain doesn't favour him on a particular table, I mean, I don't know what the tables look like, but he comes up against a couple of hills or some woods and stuff, and that's going to cut down his options even more. So those mortars with that big army might really be negated to a degree. The only other thing he could do is stick the mortars out on the flank with the Immortal Guard, put all the golems on the other side, and just hope, that he dominates both sides, one with the combat, one with the shooting.
And As someone who's played War Machines a lot in the past, you can lose some games just by board layout. It's as simple as that. And Ian is a very good player. I've got to give him that, even though he's an arse. But
your words, mate.
Hey, I've known him long enough, mate. I can say what I want with him. But no, I'm only taking piss. He's a nice ass, if you know what I mean. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it if you think he's got a lovely ass.
I'm not even going to test that. But telling stories, we'll be here all night.
Right. Shall we move on to the let's get past all that now.
Right, who's winning?
I'm going to start in the middle. Barry, off you go.
I've got Ian for this one, based on scenario. Purely based on scenario.
Right. We'll move down. Mark?
I think Rusty's going to have this. And it's just been out of 2 through the defensive. It'll be a struggle.
Okay. Padley?
I think Ian wins the scenario, but Rusty wins the
kill everything.
The points, the kill.
Kill everything. So if Rusty can kill enough before Ian gets in safe places, I think Rusty's got it, but Ian's definitely got the edge on scenario here. He's massively faster than Rusty's army.
You're saying Ian then. It's kind of where my thoughts have been. I am actually humming and hawing. Yeah, it's Ian for me as well. Bob?
I'm going to stay faithful to the Abyssal Dwarfs. I'm going to go for Rusty for this one.
No worries. Okay, 3-2 again. So Ian's on the roll here. And Bob, I shall give you Stephen's list.
Right. Well, I faced this in UB, so it has changed slightly from when I faced it, because he did have a horde of Draugr, but he's moved it down to a regiment now, so he can fit some bigger nasty stuff in. A regiment of Huskarls, 2 hordes of Frostfang cavalry, one with the Chalice of Wrath, one with the Blessing of the Gods. They are quite nasty enough as it is, but that just makes them absolute chainsaws. Snow Foxes, 2 regiments, 3 Magus Conclaves, all upgraded with the Famulus. They are horrible things. 1 Magus with the boomstick, just to pump some lightning bolts out. A Lord on Frostfang with the Blade of Slashing, and a Snow Fox for the extra attack, and a Lord on Chimera with that extra 1 inch. It is a very tight army, and Steve knows how to play it. So when I faced it last, it didn't have the Lord on Chimera. That's a recent addition. It had 2 Lords on Frostfang, I think. But now he's got the Chimera. It just depends on whether he's perfected his tactics with it. But those Magus Conclaves, the fact, I hate them with a passion. The fact that they can move and shoot, they're stealthy, and they're nimble, steady aim, piercing 2, and that massive range, the 36-inch range and the blasting, three of them together. They just put out a lot of hurt, and there's not a lot you can do to hide from them, because they can just walk up, they just sort of walk around shooting you for fun.
They're a brilliant unit. They really are. I still would argue they're the best war machine in the game.
Yeah, same here. Definitely favourite.
Yeah, I've got no hesitation in agreeing with that one.
I'm not saying they're broken. I'm just saying they're the best because they're not broken. They're completely fine for what they are, but they are the best war machine in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, even with the nerf of taking them from individual to now nimble and steady aim,
it just means you've got to be clever with them, because you don't get the free spin before you shoot. That's all. That's the only thing that's changed. It's a good thing Dan King plays Bang Gear, isn't it? So
Oh, it's a nice fast list. Apart from obviously the Draugr, it's pretty reasonable. I like that one. Okay, and Barry, do you want to take Doms?
Yeah, all right.
Go on then. Make this sound interesting.
Yeah, okay. Well, as everyone knows, spitters are broken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got six regiments of spitters.
Got some more fingers to count on.
This is the problem with balance, right? This is why everyone picks 2 of everything, because it's easy to count. And six swords of trolls. There you go. 6 swords of trolls, 3 war trombones.
Yeah, because you can't have 6.
She's gonna have 6. That's it.
Just to say that again, 6 hordes of trolls.
6 swords of trolls.
Just in case no one ever heard that.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to miss when you're looking at it, though. Like,
Yeah. I've only got 3 trombone models. I don't really need the unlocks.
It's basically a troll army unlocking a few gobos.
Well, it's unlocking 2 characters and 3 war machines, and then some spitters just to fill in the gaps.
This is
based around clearly based around the spitters.
Yeah, I can see that, Barry. You just completely green skinned, aren't you, Baz?
Slowly advance across the table, shooting on 6s, which is as everybody knows, is their maximum efficiency.
Yeah.
They get more hits when they move and shoot than they do when they stand still.
They get more hits when they charge.
Well,
experience.
Obviously, from someone who used to play goblins a lot, I used to just let spitters hit on 7s most of the time.
Yeah.
Just because who cares?
Yeah.
And
I think those spitters, their task is to lubricate the charges of the troll by dying horribly, and then being crushed. Their bodies being crushed underfoot by their 8-foot tall brethren.
This is that Brannigan tactic. Wave after wave of goblin bodies.
The spitters actually give cover for all the lightning bolt in this tournament. The trolls. But what a boring list. What a boring list.
It all. That's for sure.
There's a few stats to remember.
Obviously, I don't get me wrong. This is a strong list because I'm assuming Dom's I'm assuming Dom's abusing the disengage rule with the trolls. That's what I'm assuming he's doing just to get free flank charges here, there, and everywhere. And for anyone who don't know how that works, by the way, you just stagger your line. So you go 6 wide with trolls, and you make sure you're 1 inch and a quarter apart, and your trolls. Each troll's 1 millimetre behind the other, or at least 1 mil behind the other. Yeah. You charging, you disengage. The other troll to your left or right just charges a flank because of how the disengage rule works. So that's what I'm guessing this list does.
Right.
And then you have trombones on one flank.
If it wasn't being, it does now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those trombones are just in the first place. It's a mean list.
Yeah,
it's
its characters are just inspiring. That's all its characters are.
I think total unit strength, I think he's on the highest one that we've seen at 30. Yeah.
The spitters don't do all. The spitters only either sit in front or they sit on backfield objectives. That's all they do.
They're objective hunters, and
they're because he doesn't need the unlocks. They just rabble that shoot. That's all it is.
Yeah.
If they survive, they survive. Yeah. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, and if they just bling off a wound a turn between the 6.
Yeah, you can just put chip damage on stuff for fun, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll do 1 or 2 damage a turn with a spitter regiment.
Yeah, but over 6, possibly 7 turns, that can really add up and piss people off.
That
plus a couple of trolls in the flank.
Yeah.
Well, this is what people don't realise. It's 1 to 2 damage a regiment, but it's got 6 regiments. That's 6 to 12 a turn over 6 turns. That's a lot of damage.
Trolls are pretty mean. Right, so votes. I'm going to start with Mark this time. Let's go, Mark. first?
I just think Steve can chew through that so quickly. With the Frostbank stuff, if he gets them through and doesn't get chapped up, he can chew through that army quickly.
Okay. Padley?
So, even though we can all see that Goblin list is strong, I think Steve's list is leaps and bounds better than that Goblin list, for the simple reason Steve out threats it and he can shoot pretty much anything he wants off. This sounds stupid, but I'd ignore the trombones and just start shooting spitters and out threat the trolls and use your snow foxes properly, and I think you just outgrind it. Or you start shooting spitters, and even if the spitters are up front, if you waver one unit, you screw his line.
Yeah, that's almost better.
Yeah, that's kind of better, because we didn't say as well, he's got 7 lightning bolt as well, so he's got...
Yeah, he's got decent shooting.
Yeah, he's got a lot of shooting. It's a surprising amount of shooting. And he can take probably 3 trolls off a turn in combat if he went properly with it. So I think Steve's got this. If he plays it well, if he plays it right, I think Steve could have that hands down.
Yeah.
Just on a list-by-list purpose, obviously.
I must admit, I've got to agree with you there. I'm all for Steve. I like Steve's list. I've played both these guys, and they're both tough players. I think it's a very good match. I'd love to be watching it. But yeah,
would you?
I like Steve's. I would. I would. I actually would.
Yeah, it would be interesting, actually, I've got to be honest.
Right.
Dom's a very canny player as well.
He is. I've played him in Franticon, not this year, the year before, obviously. Well, not the last one, the one previous.
I will say, though, if Dom had the king with the headstrong aura, I think it'd be a different ball game. I think my vote would be with Dom just for that one character slot. I'd drop a trombone or a flagget for that.
What's that to give? Does that give it to everything?
Everything within 6 inches gets headstrong, so you can probably So you can probably get 4 or 5 of the 4 or 5 of the trolls.
That is handy.
Yeah.
But obviously he's wanting to make up for an inspiring lack at the second, so yeah, I agree with you with the king, but I still like Steve's. I like Steve's list. And Bob, what do you like?
Ooh, right, where should we start?
Not on shopping.
Right, okay. I mean, I do like Steve's list. Having played it before, I know how tough it can be. I mean, I've not played Dom with any of his lists, because usually when I'm at the same tournament as Dom, he's like up there playing at the top, and I'm like they're electrocuting buckets of pond scum for me to play at the bottom. But I am going to have to go with Steve's list for this one, because purely and simply because the fact that anybody that just lines up 12 units of 2 types of troops in the hope that it's going to do something, you know. I mean, spam's bad, and it shouldn't be tolerated.
Really well. Okay. Do you want to tell us more about that? Just expand a little bit. No, let's not go there. It could be there all night. Barry.
I'm not being funny. We can't talk about spam and version 3 go together hand in hand, so we can't really start talking about
I've only got 2 troop types in my entire army.
I don't know. I'm really torn, to be honest.
Well, you love the green skins. I
know
that.
Yeah, it isn't that though, to be honest, because there's too many trolls in there for my liking. But
nothing like Natalie and Broodly, I have to say.
What?
Depends on what you've told.
Let's move on. No.
Move on quickly from that one. Move on very.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I don't know either guy, but I know that Steve's capable because he consistently finishes higher than me in tournaments that we're both in. I'm the bucket of pond scum that gets electrocuted to play against Bob.
Regularly.
But I'm familiar with the Varangur lists like it. There seems to be quite similar lists that I've faced. So
that's a unanimous.
I'm kind of yeah.
I will say one thing though about Dom's list. The last time I played Dom, I shot him off with spitters.
Maybe that's why he's done it.
If you can't beat him,
you can't beat him.
Get 6 regiments of them.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, just stick 6 of them out there so they can.
Yeah. If you can't beat them, recruit them.
Yeah. Nasty. Okay, table 7. And where were we up to? Who were we on?
It's Chris Lynch.
Yeah, it is Chris Lynch. I'm wondering who was going to be reading through. Sorry, it's me. I've lost track.
Was it Mark?
I think it's Mark's turn because me and Barry did the last 2.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
3 reg of Forest Guard. Hit on 3s. Nice little unit. A troop of Glade Stalkers. A troop of the Windborn legendary unit with the Wind Blast 7. 2 troops of Gur Panthers, which are Vessus in melee. First, but now we get to the Silver Breeze, and fuck me, it's a cavalry unit without Pathfinder or boots. It's got Fire All and the Scrying Gem.
They never go at the double though, so they don't need them.
Yeah, but they're the shooty ones, aren't they? Not the fighty ones.
Yeah.
They never go at the double. Oh, that unit had loved Dom's list for the piercing 1-shots.
Yeah, the Fire Oil would love those trolls very much.
Oh god, yeah. Scrying Gem. Okay, yep. Master Hunter with
it's just
no additions. Yep, he's just a nasty piece of shit. And the Elven Archmage with the Boomstick, Lightning Bolts. That's Lightning Bolt 8.
Hang on, does that say Night Stalker?
Yeah, that's next.
Elven Archmage.
Somebody else has done it.
See, this is the allied contingent I'd take if I were taking Night Stalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just the Elven Archmage with Inspiring Talisman, Bane Chant 2, Lightning Bolt 5. It's got a horsey. Master Magic, I think means he's elite, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then another shit general because he needs the allies and a second Night Stalker ally list. Gain a Scarecrow Reg, but this time the copy paste Mind Screech.
So that's 13 elite lightning bolt and 6 normal lightning bolt. That's 19 lightning bolt. Almost. It's almost my level of lightning bolt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's the height 5 lightning bolts that I love. And the fact of the Mind Screech, they're just so nasty.
And also,
take 18 lightning bolt in my list.
But I mean, it has the Wind Blast as well, which in this army could be
solid.
Quite effective. You know, it's a good choice.
Mm.
Even if he is a shit general, as Mark says, you know, it's a good choice.
No, Wind Blast is a bit of a meme, to be honest with you, but it is a good spell in situational because it's one of them spells that can actually win you a game, but it's only going to win you a game 1 in 50 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not you can build a list around it and do very well out of it. Ask George Kirk.
Yeah. But the thing is, in this case, it's a secondary thing to the lightning bolt, isn't it? Really.
Mm.
Or
the only thing I don't understand is fucking Mind Prod 6. But go on.
I was just about to say mind fog. I mean, you don't need mind fog 6. It's just too high a number.
It should just say
guaranteed.
It can be in an army with a lot of shooting. That can be quite nifty for just forcing extra nerve checks on people.
We'll talk on that
one. The thing is, though, what a lot of times people don't use wind blast for is a lot of people advance in a line because they might bring three units into charge range. You wind blast one or two of them out of range, and the game just span on its head. Exactly.
Yeah. The combat power. They cut the combat power down, so and then they go, well, shit. Well, I'm not going to charge at all because I'm not confident that I'm going to win. So I'll just spend another turn manoeuvring, and in that, you could be outmaneuvered in that turn, or your plan just goes to rats in one go.
I've done that against. Yeah.
And you wind blast your back and then sideways, so you're now facing nose up to a building and can't charge shit.
Yeah, that's just a Mong trick, though, isn't it? Really is.
So much set.
I'm gonna have to try it on you, Bob. I'll have to try it just to be sure.
I have wind blasted my opponents towards me before. That's been interesting.
Okay.
Does sound
interesting. Wind blast from one side and surge from the other. You can go that far.
Yeah, because I'm perfectly safe from that surge. Well, now I've wind blasted you in there.
Yeah. Because I were playing with Undead with a Banshee ally at one point.
That makes sense.
Just for the enthrall or damaging wind blast or enthrall, pull them forward and surge into them. That was fun.
What do we think of the Forest Guard? I mean, he's got 3 regiments of them.
They're just slightly worse. Palace Guard.
Yeah.
Well, I think the slightly slower cavalry.
Yeah. Like they're good. I just wish Sylvaneth could have Palace Guard. I just wish they did. It's so much more interesting army. Don't get me wrong, I do like Forest Guard because situationally, the Pathfinder Thunderous is kind of better than just Crushing One. But Crushing One's better in this edition than Thunderous.
It is.
There are so many ways to get rid of Thunderous.
Well, there is, yeah.
Yeah.
And once a unit's lost its Thunderous, and I should know, then you're really on the back foot, no matter how many attacks you've got.
I just feel like they're a good infantry unit. I don't think there's all terrible about them. There's no good about them either. If that makes sense, they're there.
They're just a solid base unit, really.
Yeah, they're better than the average base unit. But I don't really say much. I don't really mean anything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Glade Stalkers. I love Glade Stalkers. They should just be regular in the bloody Sylvaneth list.
Yes.
The troops are so much better than the regiments, though, just because of points.
And that's actually what nerfs them themselves anyway. So if they became regular, the fact that most people would want to take troops, they're already kind of irregular anyway.
I agree with you. Windborn, fantastic unit. Fantastic unit. Obviously, we haven't gone on to Grant's list yet, but this list can just play the hit and run game for a few turns.
Yeah, we need to get on to the list of the tournament co-host.
Yeah, we do. We can't miss him out.
The inestimable Grant.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I read it before we start, as we were going over Chris's list, and I just assumed we talked about it.
What do you like? Come on, Padley. You're on this one.
Oh, it's me, yeah. Sorry.
It is you.
So we've got an Impaler regiment with the Life Leech 1 use, Life Leech 2 item. We've got a horde of spears with Brewer Strength. That's a solid pick. I think that is just a solid pick for Twilight King. Granted, they don't have much other choices for unlocks, but that's kind of the only choice they've got. But go on. Gargoyles, flying chaff, perfect. We have got 2 cavalry units with a slight change from the standard.
Fucking hell.
a slight change from the standard item selection. So we've got one with Caterpillar and the other one with Brew Sharpness, which I actually, situationally, Brew Sharpness is better. But I think it's 20 points more. It's a lot of points more. So it's good, don't get me wrong, but 20 points is 20 points. 2 Mind Screeches. Meh, what are you doing, Grant?
Yeah. Totally with you there.
Soulbanes are the best combat individuals in the game, in my opinion. Crushing 1, Dread, Elite, 5 attacks, Speed 9. They're really good, especially because they're individual and stealthy.
Yeah.
Summon a Crone, Speed 9 on a Cav with Bane Chant and Conjure Staff, so he's putting the Conjure Staff on there for almost guaranteed Bane Chant. And they come with Drain Life 6 from standard, so he's got a little bit of Drain Life in there. And he's got Lord of Nightmares, which is a fantastic special character, even though it's fucking million points.
He's pricey, but he does hold his own.
He's good. The thing is, though, for what he does, if there's no dragons on the board, he's just double the points of a Soulbane.
Yeah, but he's a hero hunter, monster hunter, titan hunter.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there's none of that on the board, though.
Yeah, he's not very good against units and stuff like that.
No.
What's
the thing?
What's the
Let's
Reaper
go back
monster?
to Chris's.
No, it's large infantry, so it doesn't affect
Large infantry. Oh, bugger.
Yeah, it doesn't affect. that would have been a nice touch if he affected him.
Yeah.
I think he's a really good living legend, but I think probably about 75% of games he's just overpointed. But he is solid.
Oh, that's a bastard. Yeah. Grant had a practice game where he was mucking about with allies. So he had 4 Mind Screeches. Fucking nightmare.
Allies? Really?
Oh, yeah. But it's because he painted. I gave him a miscast Mind Screech. And.
But you're allying in the same unit. Kind of not an ally. It's just a fudge of the bloody unlock system. That's all it is.
Yeah. But twos, Bane Charted as well. It just wipes through Titans, monsters, a lot, one-shotted things. It was just like, wow, really nasty. Didn't matter if it was in snare; it just wiped through it.
Yeah, well, it's still hitting on 3s. That's why sharpness. Twos without, 3s with, even hindered with a snare. It's hitting on 4s, and that's still going to hurt.
God, yeah.
Speaking as a general whose army baseline is 4s.
Right. Well, I'll start with you, Bob. Where's your vote going? Is it going to be?
Don't start with me.
Your turn. We'll go reverse. I'll go next.
Right. So, having watched a lot of Twilight Kin recently, Grant's list is a really solid list. I love the Kindred Tall Spears with the Brew of Strength. 30 attacks. They're only hitting on 4s, but 30 attacks at whatever strength, they're going to put some serious hurt out. The Impalers, I'm not 100% sure about those. I've tried using them myself, but they just seem to die too easily. 2 lots of gargoyles, 2 lots of horsemen, good synergy there. Able to set stuff up. Not so much drain life.
Got a little bit.
A little bit, but what I've seen that seems to be the thing that sort of keeps Twilight Kin in the fight. 2, lightning bolts. He's got plenty of lightning bolt there. 10, 12 lightning bolts. The Sylvan Kin list. Now, the amount of shooting on that with the low toughness of the Twilight Kin, there's not a lot out there on, and the Twilight Kin that's defense 5. To be perfectly honest, I think it's going to be a really, really close game because they're both similar in size with the drops. They're both quite fast and manoeuvrable. But I think for me, I think the Sylvan Kin are going to have it with the shooting, with the amount of shooting they've got, and with their infantry.
But it can say
because the tall spears have got they've got the phalanx and they've got the brewer strength, but they get a couple of those glade guard units into them with thunderous charge, and they're going to really suffer. I think, even in terrain and stuff like that. I think the Sylvan Kin for me.
Well, the phalanx is going to strip the thunderous charge from them. But for the tall spears, but yeah, this is one which is going to be quite a good chess piece. I think it's also one which it's higher chance of this ending up a draw.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot to choose between the two lists. It's going to come down to the position, the position of the bluff counters really, and what the terrain is with the fight over. I think for me.
Right. So you're saying Chris. I'm going to go on next, and then we'll go back up to the bottom for Padley. I'm going to say Chris as well, mainly because Grant has gone with the cardinal sin of putting 2 Mind Screechers in there. It's fantastically. And they're both going to be evenly matched, but it's a cardinal sin. You don't have 2 Mind Screechers. You just don't. You've got to have 3.
Odd numbers only.
1 or 3, yeah. 1 or 3 is my opinion. Or 4. 4 works as well, but...
And Twilight King can have 4, so they should have. Sorry. But no, I do... Anyway, let's move on over to Padley.
So there's 2 things that a lot of people have overlooked with the Sylvaneth list. It's got 55 rat 4 shots, and a lot of that's piercing. And the big thing is that one of them Silver Breeze has got fire oil, which is going to tear a new one for the horsemen. Absolute new one, because they're going to be doing 4 or 5 damage a turn to a horseman regiment just from that one Silver Breeze unit because of fire oil.
Yeah.
And with the amount of a lightning bolt in the Sylvaneth list, it can reliably kill a horseman unit turn 1 and then the other one turn 2. Like, really reliably.
Yeah.
And then once them 2 units are gone, what has Grant got? He's got a horde of spears and a regiment of impalers. That's it. So I have to go with Sylvaneth here just by. Don't get me wrong, Sylvaneth Lels and Twilight King, they are bottom tier armies and they are having a bit of a slap fight, but slap fight on slap fight, I think the Sylvaneths have got it here. Okay. And I think a big reason they've got it is just for that one Silver Breeze having fire oil. As daft as that sounds.
Okay, Mark.
Yeah, it sounds like the 5-point item could ticket
make a big difference.
Yeah, and it's because this is a very close matchup, I think. And it's all about positioning and everything else. But yeah, I think Chris has the edge on this one at the moment. It all depends on deployment and how things get moved about, and who gets first turn.
And dice. Don't forget dice. You're actually playing real life.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so are you saying Chris there then, Mark?
Yeah, sorry, Grant.
Baz, go on.
You kind of have to vote against Grant no matter what, don't you? So.
Meow.
You say that, but not knowing either of them, I was just going to say I haven't got a fucking clue, so I'm going to go with Grant because he's got more mind screeches.
Oh, there we go.
It's not good enough mind screeches. You don't do two.
He's got the wrong
Barry's
number of mind screeches.
Barry's OCD likes pairs.
Oh no, it's just way past my bedtime and I've not had a drink for 2 weeks.
If it makes you feel better, I've been empty for like 10 minutes.
In no way does that help.
Oh, I'm sorry, Baz. Okay, so you're saying Grant, just to give him the one there. Okay, so that one looks to be going to Chris. I'll quickly pop up the table layout for the guys that are watching.
Yeah, our hall can normally fit something like 28 tables in if it was a normal day, as it were, not this shit period. But with all of this shit, we've had to replan. So we've basically got 6 tables plus the TO table in the main hall and another hall just off the side.
Did you do that drawing, Mark?
Yeah.
I can tell.
That's unbelievable PowerPoint. That's fantastic.
he's more the male bogs, female bogs.
Well, at least he put bogs and not shitter.
Can't spell shitters.
Yeah.
It didn't fit on.
It kept pouring over the edge.
No worries.
How many tables do you say you can normally fit in there?
We've got space for about 28 tables to actually fit fully in, if normal.
Bloody hell! I was just going to say because when
there's
I
no
played
room for players.
When I played at Shroud of the Reef, I played Mac Green.
So
I dropped a dice on the floor, bent down to pick it up, and I shot Rusty Shackleton right over the other table on the other side. We were that close together, and I think there was only about 15 people there.
As I say, you can fit 27 tables in, but there's no players around the table.
Yeah.
No, sorry, 28
Is that space in the bottom right where it says stack tables and chairs?
Table 1 on the stage.
Now, table 1 looks to be further round.
Table 1's
back in the kitchen.
It's basically there's another hall behind the kitchen and the stairs going down.
There's a utility room upstairs.
No, it's a proper hall. It's where they have wedding receptions and stuff in it.
Oh, brilliant!
And because we've got the whole hall, so there's another table in there. So make sure there is basically like 3 odd meters, if not more, between tables. Because it allows people to stand up by the table, sit down by the tables, and still have basically 2 meters between them.
I'm sure that's going to go up for the guys to see, as well as the actual draw, which I will quickly pop up again as well.
Yeah,
so
what you really need to do is get them to put a sign on the front of the building, because we drove past like 8 times before we realised what it was.
Yeah, but that's because you're northern, you don't know some of the subtle ways.
Yeah. Mind you, we had arrived the night before and gone to sample the delights of Bexley.
Anyway,
two and a half pubs, the Mediterranean restaurant, and the Angry Pigeons.
Who do we reckon's walking away with the tournament then? Who's number 1?
Overall,
okay,
that's a toughie. I've not seen the other rounds. I don't know what other scenarios are being played. So
just based on lists. Who do we reckon?
I reckon Matt G is a strong contender, to be honest, with his ogres. Even though he's a shit general and he's took allies, I think that list is going to be. Hey, don't blame me. It's Mark. That says everybody's a shit general that takes allies.
Yeah. it's a fact.
But I think Matt G's he's got a good strong list, but then it depends on whether he plays Rusty game too.
Yeah.
It gets like smeared.
Rusty's the trump card here, isn't it? Because there's two people I think could win it, but if either of them play Rusty, they're not winning it.
Yeah, because I mean, if Rusty gets a combination of a good table and perhaps something like Dom's Army or something. He's gonna flatten, so he's gonna crush some hopes, I think.
I hate to say it, I think he walks off for Dom's Army. I think he just walks over it without much trying.
Just frightening the damage that could be inflicted on that.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, the four scenarios have been announced. So you've got Fool's Gold, and off the top of my head, I can't remember which way around it is, but you've got Pillage, Plunder, and then Control. So basically, they're all on a gold run.
Awesome.
So that basically means you've got a bluff one, an objective marker one, a loot taker one, and an area of control one.
Mm. My vote for the guy who's going to win this is Chris Lynch. Just by looking at lists, so I think that's the best list there. Controversial.
Yeah. No, but I like it because it shakes things up.
Mm-hmm.
Just shake things up. It's good. So we've got a vote for Chris. Anybody else wanting to?
No.
I do hope that somebody with allies wins.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I think it probably will be somebody with allies. I've got to agree there.
Because I mean, it's I've added that to my campaign now. So it's run MMC and allies. That's the slogan for my next Kings of War season.
Oh,
minimum model count and allies. Fantastic.
That was me last year, mate. So don't worry.
Yeah. Dom top 3. I think Dom's list is one of those tricky ones. Depends on who he comes up against.
It does.
Steve's got a solid list. And he should do top 3. Matt, I think, should do top 3.
I think Matt will be a
Yeah, I agree with Dom's list, but I think Dom's list wins 60% of this field. But the other 40%, I think Dom wins big or just gets tabled. I don't think there's an in between.
Well, there's a resistance movement already.
I don't like banning them. I just call them shit generals.
You just spend all tournaments sat next to him going,
you're shit.
Just giving him shit.
You know you're shit. You're shit.
If you take allies, you've got to listen to me all tournament. That's the punishment. You can take them. We're not banning anything, but there is a consequence for taking them.
Mark will turn up as your analog clock at the side of your table. You're not using a digital clock. It's just going to be me counting loudly.
He's like the
shit allies 1, shit allies 2, shit digital.
He's like the talking clock you used to be able to ring.
Yeah, but they missed the L off of it.
Ling.
Taking the cock.
Okay. And on this note,
I'm afraid the tournament this weekend is cancelled due to Mark having had a heart attack, having an apoplectic fit online, live. You saw it first here.
Yeah, we've been watched now after killing someone live on stream.
Heart attack fame. Right. Well, I think on this note, I'm going to thank all the 2 people that are now watching, and thank you all for coming on.
Yeah, they're like that now. Yeah, the banter's going to start.
They're fed up, so
time to
we'll
go to bed.
bye, and off we go.